Coming off of a great men's weekend at Liberty, and man, I heard so many people tell me how much they enjoyed hearing Amir this weekend. Got a lot of good stuff coming up, and hey, I'll let you know just in the not too distant future, for those of you who've been around the church for a while, the Liberty app is coming back, so you can start watching for that. This is a special edition of Live at Liberty as we get into February. It is Love is in the Air at Liberty Baptist Church. We are going to do something fun this month in that we are going to have 4 sets of couples over the next couple of weeks that kind of represent the different, I don't know what you call it, demographics, life stages of people in the church. And we're going to play the Newlywed game week to week here on Live at Liberty. So after Nicole tells you kind of what's going on, Lori and Ken sit down with our first 2 couples, Jerry and Niki, and Gary and Jeanette, have some fun with them. And you know, what we want to do with Live at Liberty is help you to get to know the people that you're going to church with. And what a better way to do that than to ask awkward questions. So you're going to enjoy that. So let's get right to it. Live at Liberty.
Hey Liberty, it's Nicole Williams, and I am excited to celebrate a lot of stuff with you guys today. I'm going to start with birthdays, and we have Jeanette Abraham with a birthday on February 6th. Laureen Lumpkin on February 6th as well. We have Kylie Branham on February 7th. Gigi Amos and Addie Reynolds, 2 of our youth, both have birthdays on February 8th. And then Mr. Larry Kaler has a birthday on February 9th. So happy birthday, guys. Russell and Susan Vick went and served at an Experiencing God weekend last weekend at Harps Crossing Baptist Church. And it was Bob Payne's last one. And, you know, we've been praying for Bob and his health. And the Lord answered prayers in a mighty way that weekend. Specifically, Bob was able to preach the whole weekend and the whole event despite his health challenges. So that's just really cool how we were able to see God answer that and going through the Experiencing God stuff ourselves, it was just a really cool thing to hear about that. But Susan, who is our women's ministry leader, has also been chosen. She's only one of 25 women. She's one of only 25 women in the country to attend a women's ministry training conference through Lifeway. She'll be going to that at the end of February, so I'm really proud of her and excited to see what she comes back with and has for our women's ministry group here. Have you guys heard of Temple Care and Wellness? It's a new healthcare option coming to Chatsworth, and it was co-founded by our very own Casey Barrett. They will be offering primary and urgent care plus wellness services like IV therapy. And it sounds like a new and different approach to healthcare for our area. And I've been hearing lots of cool little words like holistic and transparent and affordable. And I don't have time to tell you about all of that today, but catch Casey one day in the foyer or something, ask her about it, look them up on Facebook. They're hoping to open beginning of March. And I think that's going to be a really cool thing for our area. So best wishes to Casey. Grace Pilcher is a competitive gymnast, and she was in the Atlanta Classic last weekend. She placed second for her bars routine in her age group with a score of 9.7 out of 10. That sounds like a closer to first place win to me, but that's impressive, so way to go, Grace. Mel and Reba Brooks went to the presidential inauguration. I think that is one of the coolest things that I've heard of someone that I know doing in a really long time. So I asked them, like, what was it like when you went? And, you know, they moved it from outside to inside. So they weren't sure they were going to get to go inside. They had to wait in line. They got there at 6:30 in the morning and waited for 5 hours to be able to go in. But they made it. They got in. They got to see it. They got to see some executive orders signed right there in front of them. And it was a really cool experience for them. I want to celebrate all things with you guys, so you can email me at live@liberty76@gmail.com, or you can comment on Facebook or just shoot me a message on Facebook. But let me know what's going on in your lives so that we can celebrate you. I saved the anniversaries for last today because it's February and it's the month of love. And we have just a special month planned for y'all. So I thought we would end the day with anniversaries. My first anniversary was not I get all the information that I get from a Google Drive, and I think most of it comes from Realm, and I know Melissa's been working to get some of it updated, but I'm seeing that a lot of things are maybe incorrect there. So there was an anniversary I was going to announce today, and is it until the 18th, and I had it down as the 4th. So make sure that you're updating all of your stuff in Realm. And but Brian and Shannon Branham, I did not have their information, and I saw a post on Facebook. So that's the only reason I even knew to wish them a happy anniversary, and it was missed. It should have been on last week's. But Brian and Shannon celebrated their 28th anniversary, I think, if I did the math right, on February 1st. And then Gail and Charles Knight will celebrate their 36-year anniversary on the 3rd, along with Kyle and Cindy Miller, who will celebrate their 8th anniversary on the 3rd. Then on February 4th, we have Harold and Karen West celebrating their 30th anniversary. And on the 6th, Lynn and Stephen Shoemaker are celebrating their 37th wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary to all of you, and we hope that this month's podcast series brings you, as our viewers, lots of laughter and fun, and helps you get to know some of the couples in our church better. So I will turn you guys over to Lori.
Thanks, Nicole, for that information on the what's what here at Liberty. And like she said, this is Lori, and today we have something very special for y'all. So we're kind of shaking things up a little bit, and we're going to play the Not So Newlywed game at Liberty. And today I have some special guests with me. I have Niki Gerber and Jeanette Abraham. So we are going to start with these questions, ladies. Are y'all ready?
Sure.
And the way this is going to kind of be like a game. So we're going to see if your husband's answers match yours. Okay?
That's scary.
Yeah, I know. All right. So first question is, so how long have each of you been married? So let me tell us that before we get started.
February 18th will be 8 years.
Okay.
And for us, at the end of March, it'll be 46 years.
Okay, so we have a variety here of seasoned marriages. And so y'all should know each other really well then, right?
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
All right, so Niki, what first attracted you to your husband?
Oh, that's kind of a hard question because there's different qualities about him.
So what would he say that first attracted you to him?
Probably his personality.
Okay. All right. And what about you, Jeanette?
It's been a while.
Should we say what still attracts you to your husband?
He's kind.
Oh,
he is.
that's
He's
so
very
sweet.
thoughtful. He's very kind. So for me, that's what still attracts me.
Oh, how sweet is that? That is precious. All right. So, Niki, what would you say is one thing that you guys are totally opposites on?
Totally opposites. Wow. Oh, that's a hard one. Totally opposite.
Or what does he think you're totally opposite on is probably what you should ask yourself, too.
Probably organization.
Okay. Organization.
I'm a very organized person, and he's a don't touch anything in my garage person.
Okay. Got it.
And you having extra time with you answering first doesn't help me any. Totally opposite.
Yeah. After 47 years, I guess that there's a lot about you that is alike. There has to be one thing.
And it's, yes, it's true. I mean, you do. It's funny where you get to the point where you start thinking alike.
Right.
And I'll be thinking something and he'll say something. And it's like, oh, wait, this is scary. But we're totally different about. He's a procrastinator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to, and I'm not so much. If I don't, well, okay, so mine is actually that if I don't do it right then, I don't remember to do it. So maybe that's why. But he has to be asked a couple times sometimes.
Okay. So procrastination.
Yeah, I think so.
And yours is organization. Okay. All right. So, all right, here's a good one, ladies. So if your husband could choose a superpower, what would it be?
Oh my. You get to go first on this.
I'm going to go with organization.
That would be his superpower?
Yeah, it
Organization?
would be. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What would Jerry choose?
Wow. Superpower. Probably to read other people's minds. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, what is something that your husband loves so much that he could make an infomercial about it?
Candy.
Jerry likes him some candy.
Any kind. Any kind of candy. Chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay.
I don't know that he loves it so much, but occupies a bit of his time, and that's TV.
TV.
Yeah.
He could probably give us a rundown of
Yeah,
things
he
that's going
could.
on, huh? Okay.
Oh, okay. So let's say Jag. Well, just
Jag?
the TV show Jag.
Jag. Oh,
Yes.
so he's
because if I'm not in the room or there's nothing else to watch, that'll be his go-to.
okay. So he could tell us all about
Yeah.
that. All right.
I think so.
All right, cool. All right. If your marriage were a movie and it were about your lives and your marriage, what type of movie would it be? Would it be a thriller, a comedy, action, romance, drama, or a low-budget indie film?
What's a low-budget indie film?
Well, it just don't cost a lot of money. You just
The low budget I got.
Hey, listen, it's okay because I had to look it up too.
Can we combine some? Let's do a low budget comedy with a little bit of action in there because I threw a lawnmower at him one time. So, there we go.
And when I hit Gary with a frying pan once, so
Oh, okay. Now I like the way this is going.
mine would be a low.
Truth shall set you free.
It would be a low budget. I'm a DIYer, so everything is how cheap can I get it done? Doing it myself.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Would Gary agree with that?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
All right, ladies, thank y'all so much for your time and for being on this segment of the Not So Newlywed game at Liberty. I really appreciate it. And y'all, I've laughed the entire time, so this has been amazing. Thank y'all so much for your time.
Thank you.
So I get the privilege of not only interviewing the women today on the Not So Newlywed game at Liberty, but I also get the privilege of interviewing the men. So we want to see if your answers match one another. So today I have with me Jerry Gerber and Gary Abraham. So, man, we're going to see if your answers match your wives. Jerry, how long have y'all been married?
It'll be 8 years and 2 weeks.
All right. And Gary?
Yeah, the end of March, 46.
All right. Okay. So, Jerry, what first would Niki say attracted her to you?
Well, all she saw was, I would say, my face in general, because that's all she saw on Christian Mingle was, I had an earring, I think, in that picture. So I'd say the earring. I was kind of a bad boy. A geriatric bad boy is what I was.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, what would you say that Jeanette would say attracted you to her to you?
Well, well, the first time we met, we were at a college and career fellowship. She didn't like me that evening.
Really?
I made a total fool of myself, which I'd never done before. But it's kind of a hard question, being that she didn't like me that first day.
But she was attracted to you, so had to come back for something. So
Well,
what was it that brought her back?
We got set up by our choir director, the one I used to have and the one that was at their church, and she brought us together.
Okay.
And we've been together ever since. So.
So what trait about you was it?
Personality, I guess.
Okay. Okay. All right.
You sure about that? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
So, all right. So, Jerry, what would you say that you and Niki are totally opposite on?
She has a hard time sitting and relaxing. I'm good with sitting in the chair once in a while. I like to sit in my boxers with a big bowl of those big buckets of cheese balls you get from Walmart. And eat
Okay.
until your fingers get orange. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I got it.
So orange that I have to say, hey, come change the channel for me. Because
Yeah. Okay.
But She has a hard time sitting still.
All right, so you don't mind relaxing, and she's up moving around.
Right.
All right, or maybe you're making her move around.
I don't make her do anything. I tried that once. No, I don't make her do anything.
All right, Gary, what about you?
Well, I'm just the opposite. I'm the one that fidgets and something's always moving, tapping my finger, my foot, whatever. And she's always constantly, sit still. Or she'll hold my hand if I'm tapping her or whatever. So that's the thing that she's always, can't you sit still? No. So.
Okay, so that's what you're opposite of. So y'all are pretty much the same. One fidgets, one doesn't. Yeah. All right, next question. Jerry, what would Niki say if you could choose a superpower? What would it be?
For her or for me?
No, for you.
What would Niki say that you would want to choose as a superpower?
I have no idea. Who come up with
What
these
would you
questions?
like? What would you like to be? That's just something you're really good at. That's a head scratcher, huh?
Obviously, something to do with intellect would be a good starting place. I wish I was in better health again.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a superpower. It's not a superpower. That's dumb, isn't it?
What kind of superpower would you choose? Or what would you?
What do you
I
want?
wish I could fly. I
Okay.
always used to think about that when I was a kid. If I was out there playing baseball and one day I could just fly, would I stay and play the game, or would I just go?
Okay.
Didn't have a lot of friends back then.
Okay. Gary, what would Jeanette say you would choose as your superpower?
Yeah, I've always wanted to be faster.
Okay.
I've been the heavy, so I was always the slowest, runner or whatever. So I guess I would say I'd like to be the Flash.
No, he'd have to be the Flash. So fast. All right. So, Jerry, what is something that Niki would say that you love so much that you could make an infomercial about it?
That I love so much.
That you could make a commercial and tell us all about it.
Our son Connor.
Okay. Oh, that was sweet. Yeah.
He's my stepson, but yeah, I could talk about him all day.
Aw.
But what was the question again? What's something?
What is something that you love so much that you could make an infomercial about?
I love cooking on the grill, and I love getting on the boat.
And that's what she could tell us. That's what she would say
Cooking
about
on the
you.
boat.
Yeah, cooking on the boat.
Cooking on. All right, there we go. Cooking on the boat. You could tell us all about it. All right. Gary, what about you?
Okay, repeat the question again.
So, what is something that Jeanette would say you love so much that you could make an infomercial about?
Probably the Braves.
The Braves.
I'm
Okay.
always looking on Google to see what they're doing. We watch every single game. Go to occasionally, but so yeah.
All right. So here's the last question for you guys. If a movie were to be made about your lives and your marriage, what type of movie would it be? A thriller, comedy, action, romance, drama, or a low-budget indie film?
What kind of low budget film?
Indie.
Low-budget indie film.
What's that?
Just cheap. It's a cheap-made movie.
Cheap.
I would say this is what she would say.
Yeah, what would she say?
A drama.
A drama? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, because when we first met, our first date was at the Waffle House down the road here on Christmas Eve, and because we were
And
meeting
she married you anyway.
and she married anyway, and
Did you have your earring in?
I may have, and I had a $5 spending limit on the first date, and we dated for a while, but it was up and down. I was non-committal.
Okay.
I just I wasn't feeling it. She kept saying, "Well, this is a God thing," and it turned out to be right. So it took us several years of on again, off again, me,
Okay.
before I finally said yes.
Okay.
Well, she said yes.
So she would
So
say
it-
it's a drama
it was a
film.
drama.
Okay. What about you, Gary?
Definitely a drama.
Drama.
Because of all the things, like I said earlier, we met and I made a total fool of myself with her. When we left, I thought, I'll never see that girl again. And then God made a thing where, her director knew me, and she said, and it was on Easter Sunday, and I just happened to be at her house because I needed something for the sound that night. And I opened the door, and she's standing there with mouth wide open going, what? She said, I was just thinking about calling you. I got somebody I want you to meet. And she said, do you have a car? Well, she knew I had a car, a station wagon. I said, well, my mom and dad's got one. So I drove up to the church, her church, and she walked out the door, and I'm going, uh-oh. I said, this is going to be a short date.
So your marriage and your life would be a drama.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for your time. So we're gonna compare your answers, and we'll go from there. And everybody at Liberty's gonna know how well y'all know each other on the Not So Newlywed game at Liberty.